Hey, welcome back everybody. HY here, making another gun video today. Today I want to talk about first-time shooters and what it's like to go out and buy your first gun. Just wanted to give you all a little bit of advice. I know there's a lot of new shooters out there right now. Number one, I did check and make sure all my guns were unloaded before I even started this video as well too. Number one thing on a gun, see if you can shoot it before you buy it. I love going into gun shops that have ranges there that you can actually go rent a gun out and test it. Even if it's $30 or $40, you're going to lose way more than that if you buy a gun and then you realize you don't like it. That is the worst thing you can do, is to buy a gun and hate it and either sell it or, even worse, never practice with it. Because if you don't practice with it, you are never going to be able to use it whenever you need it the most. Number two thing on a gun, make sure it's comfortable to you. Don't just buy something just because your buddy thinks it's a great gun. Make sure that you can easily access the trigger. Make sure that you can easily access certain things such as the slide release. If it has a hammer drop on it as well too, make sure that you can easily access all of those controls and that the gun isn't too big for you. Next thing I'll go over is caliber here in a second as well too. Before I do that though, I wanted to talk a little bit about buying guns used. I'm a big advocate of buying guns used. It's like buying a car a lot of times that has 5,000 miles on it. You're going to get an unbelievable deal compared to buying it brand new. Because with a gun, the day you go out and you put one round in the chamber and pull the trigger, it's now a used gun. So as long as it still looks good and as long as it still looks like it's going to run right, you can save yourself a lot of money in the long run. You can save 10, 20, maybe even 25% over new prices as well too. Give you a few things to look for. If it has a guide rod, make sure the guide rod still looks true and it isn't broken. Make sure the crown of the barrel still looks good. Make sure the rifling in it is still good and there's not a place where you can't see rifling. A lot of places they'll give you a bore light and they'll let you check the bore, but just make sure the rifling looks good in there. Check your feed ramp. Make sure that the feeding ramp still looks good as well too. Do not ask to take a gun down in the middle of a gun shop. That's just bad courtesy and it's just bad practice as well too. If you're really interested in it, explain to them that there's just a few things you would like to see. As long as the shop isn't too busy, they will work with you on that. Sometimes they'll take it apart for you. Don't just start taking a gun down on your own. Don't try to be a gun shop commando. Make sure it does index back as well too on your semi-automatics. Make sure there isn't too much play in the slide as well too. That really will affect your gun if there is too much play in it. Have to kind of switch gears. This is my Colt Sig Sauer 1911. I've got too many Colts and Sigs. Y'all realize I've got a really bad problem with them. Make sure that the safety is still good. Make sure that if you do this, that that the gun still won't go off. That's the worst thing than having an accidental discharge. That is the absolute one of the worst things that can ever happen to you. It can change your life in 0.2 seconds. Make sure, again, that there's the features that you like on the gun. Make sure also that you're going to buy a gun for its intended use. Trying to conceal a full-size 1911 every day is not an easy job, especially if you live in warm weather climates. If you wear a suit and tie to work every day and you live somewhere cold, having a 1911 full-size is great. You have probably one of the best guns that you could ever have, one of the best designs. Make sure, though, it's going to be able to use its intended use. If you need night sights, if you like night sights, if you're going to use this as your personal protection gun, go ahead and get the night sights. You never know when you're actually going to need it. Having a gun is like having a parachute. If you ever don't have it, you may not ever need it again. If you want to pick a 10 rail, actually think about if you're ever going to use a light and laser. I know a lot of guns that come standard, but a lot of guns there's options. Actually sit there and think about if you're ever actually going to use that light and laser combo on it as well too. Next, I'll go over buying a new revolver. I know a lot of people most likely get semi-autos, but a revolver, there's a reason that police carried revolvers for a long time before they carried semi-automatics. They're more reliable, less likely to have a lot of problems. Just a few things I want to go over for y'all. Make sure there's a little bump right here. Make sure that is still good and not too worn. Also, when buying a revolver, be very gentle, be delicate. Don't be Mickey Spillane in the gun trying to slap it in sideways. Make sure it indexes well and that it locks up tight. You can be gentle and still figure out that if there's a problem. Make sure the cylinder spins true, and as well as the guide rod as well too, that it's still straight. A lot of places they will let you do this. Some of them will, some of them won't. Just ease the hammer down real slow. Whenever you do that, now, number one, you can check the trigger pull on it and make sure that you do like that. Number two, you can make sure that the gun will still cycle whenever you pull the hammer back. And also on double action, just check it and make sure it does that. Stick your thumb in there though. Don't be dry firing other people's guns. That's just another, bad etiquette as well too. I need to make a revolver etiquette video. Um, Kind of go over my last one as well too. If you are going to conceal carry, this is the place to be. It really is. I told you I wasn't going to be an advocate in the beginning. I'm trying not to be. But if you're going to conceal carry, you're going to want it that you can use it all the time. If you can have it where you can have it as a small of the back, inside the shirt, or on your ankle, you just want to make sure that you have as many options as you can. Like I said, as always, just make sure the gun is what you want whenever you buy it. And especially this too, I've seen this happen I don't know how many times. People let $100 or $200 make the difference between them getting something they kind of liked and something they really liked. If it's something you really like, you're going to get out there and you are going to train. Also, going with that too, make sure that you still have enough money left over that you can buy an adequate supply of ammo to train with as well too. I recommend at least 500 rounds until you are fully comfortable with a gun and being able to use it in a situation where you might need it. Hope y'all are having a great week. Have a great weekend as well too. HY out.